Welcome to another edition of Our City. I hope all enjoyed the St. Patrick's Day Parade in Union on last Saturday. And here we go into March 17th this week, which will be the St. Patrick's Day. And for those of you that are basketball fans, the NCAA starts on Thursday as well. And Thursday and Friday with the first rounds, and Saturday and Sunday with the second rounds. And on Tuesday of this week at 10 o'clock, I'll attend a Read Across America event at St. Genevieve's School, located on Princeton Road in our city. And this Read Across America, an initiative that's created by the National Education Association. Reading broadens horizons, expands opportunities, and enables our children to experience new models. And on Friday of this week, March 19th at 7 o'clock, St. Mary's High School, my alum, will have a basketball challenge. I am not playing, for those of you that are interested. There will be two games, alumni versus alumni at 7 o'clock. And then the winning alumni team, if they are still capable, will play the current varsity team at 8:30 in the evening. The basketball challenge is an opportunity for the alumni to come together for an evening of friendly competition, cheer for your favorite alumni team. Refreshments will be sold, a fundraiser for the school. If you're interested, please call 352-4350. If you need more information concerning these events or any other events, please call our Public Information Office at 820-4124. And for this week's show, I'm pleased to be joined by two of the owners of a staple store in our community called Leonardo Jewelers. It helped revitalize Elizabeth Avenue in the 60s and 70s, is still there, and does a great job on the avenue. Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mayor.
Mr. Michael Zeke. And Miss Yvette Fernicola, welcome to the show, Yvette.
Thank you.
So why don't we just, first of all, I gave a little bit of a run-up in your store, but tell us a little bit about yourselves, and I'm not fussy. Who goes first?
It doesn't really matter. First of all, Mayor, good afternoon, and we really appreciate the fact that we've been invited to your show. It really is an honor being here with you today, and we appreciate everything you're doing here for our city and trying to make the business community here as successful as possible. And we just greatly appreciate it on behalf of everybody in our family. As you said, my name is Mike Zeke. I'm one of five siblings that run the store. This is my sister Yvette Fernicola. The other siblings that are involved in the business, we have two stores, one in Red Bank and one here in Elizabeth. Elizabeth is where we started the business, is where our father actually started the business. The other siblings are Lourdes Zeke, Leo, Vivian, and of course Yvette and I. That's the five of us that really basically run the show.
So Yvette, who got into the business first when it came to the siblings? Did you all follow Michael, or did Michael follow you?
Actually, well, the reality of it is, first I wanted to thank you, because you were kind enough to invite us on this show many years ago. I believe it was 15 years ago already, when we did a big expansion of our store, remodeling, and I'm so happy that we're able to be here again today with our latest addition to the jewelry store. But going back to your question, the reality of it is I believe I've been my parents' good luck charm. I was born the year my father opened the first business here in Elizabeth on 3rd Street in Elizabeth. So I was the last to join the business.
That was only about 10 or 15 years ago, though, right?
Absolutely, yes, absolutely. Well, considering we told you all we're going into our 5th decade, I cannot lie. But in terms of full-time employees, Michael was actually the last to come back into the business.
Yeah, I was always part of the business. Mm-hmm. I grew up in the business with my father. I was like 8 years old when my father didn't even have a store. We were selling jewelry door to door, and I would go on Saturdays with him, because if I didn't go on Saturdays with him, I would never see him. He was working in a factory at the time, 2 shifts back to back, 80 hours a week. So Saturday was sort of my day with my dad. And what he would do to augment his income, because he was a Cuban immigrant, is on Saturdays he would sell jewelry door to door. And that's really how the business started. Mm-hmm. The reason Yvette says I was actually the last one to rejoin the business is that for about a 20-year period, I was a hospital healthcare consultant. basically out in Pennsylvania advocating for the healthcare industry. So I actually was not part of the business for about 20 years. In the last 10 years or so, I've been back in the business.
And Yvette, the 3rd Street store, was that a jewelry store on 3rd Street?
Yeah.
It was, yeah. My father opened the first Leonardo Jewelers on 3rd Street, and at the time, it wasn't just jewelry. He also was selling appliances and things like that, because really he was catering to the Cuban immigrant.
But didn't he have a clothing store as well?
Well, that was when we moved to Elizabeth Avenue. What happened there was my uncle was the one who really ran the clothing store. My father, it was his building, his business, but my uncle was the one who ran that. He started that business for my uncle, his brother, after he had come from Cuba.
You know, actually, you're raising a very good question, and let me just, I think I can answer it a little differently.
Probably better.
At the time, because it's actually it's a beautiful case study. We were really proud of our heritage, how the business started, how we came to be, and it goes to the heart of who we are still today. Back in the early '60s, Cubans were arriving here in droves. Elizabeth was a very welcoming community. There were lots of factory jobs at the time. People were able to get immediate jobs. So that's how come Elizabeth and the area surrounding Elizabeth became a magnet to the Cuban community. What ended up happening, though, as all immigrant communities go through this, you have an influx of people that come in our case, penniless. Everything was left back in Cuba. The Castro government basically took out everything you had, including your engagement ring. Anything that had value stayed in Cuba. So these people were arriving penniless. Then you had a couple of people in the Cuban community, a handful, that began businesses. My dad was one of those handful of people. And the only place that those people had an opportunity to basically buy things without paying for it was with other Cubans, because we were helping each other out, as all immigrant communities do. So at the time, that although it was a jewelry store on 3rd Street, we had to be an appliance store. We had to be a clothing store. We had to be a coat and shoe store. Why? Because people were arriving here. It was cold. They needed a coat. They didn't have credit.
Not like they were bringing one from Cuba.
Yeah, exactly. So the point is that, the businessmen that were around at the time, like my dad, had to be a place where they can get anything. The thing about my dad, and we're really proud about this, is that, he was a great businessman, but he didn't always think about gouging and getting the most, because of the circumstance. What he did, and really set us up into a great path for a successful business, is what he did was he would sell them the coat, he would sell them the TV set, and if they couldn't pay, put it on credit, no interest. He himself barely had enough money to put food on the table. He always did. He provided for us very well, but he felt that was what he had to do for the community.